Thank you, Bernd. Thank you, Arthur, also for the invitation to give an overview of insect farming from a Better Insect Solutions perspective. I will try today to focus on the rearing, as is the topic of the webinar. Better Insect Solutions is part of the Big Dutchman Group, as was mentioned initially. We are a Germany-based family-owned business of approximately 4,000 employees globally, with locations in most major regions. This is also something we leverage from the Better Insect Solutions company, that together with our sister companies, Big Dutchman, InnoPlus, and SCOF, we can reach out globally to wherever your insect project is, as well as tapping into the large network of service partners that we have in these clusters. So we overall cover all the life stages of the black soldier fly with our technology solution. Our value proposition covers this. Just showing here, most of you are surely familiar with the life cycle of the black soldier fly, but I've just put here the different stages that we cover from a farming perspective, having unique chambers or compartments, sections or houses, whatever you like to call it, that ensure that you can connect all the dots throughout the life cycle. We also cover a variety of major business models, which goes hand in hand with the life cycle. That we cover so-called full liner operations, which have both flies and hence the breeding and nursery and grow out sections in the same site, just as we support projects which are focusing on just breeding or on the growing or rearing of the larvae to final product. I've shown here a mass balance for a 20,000 ton wet larvae per year operation. This is, of course, a rather large operation. I would say that our projects right now span from 100 tons of wet larvae per year to 100 tons of wet larvae per day. So this is quite a range. I will get back to the large end of that range in the final slide, with showing one of the major projects that we are working on right now. But it does require a lot of different things to play together in order to be able to deliver a full insect project, whether it's 100 tons of larvae per year or per day. And it's also quite a complex operation in general to get an insect project up and running to do rearing of larvae, whether or not you include breeding too. This is why our value proposition is to take the client by the hand from day one, ensuring that this will be a good journey. Because there's more than just technology which is involved in this becoming a success. If we focus here in the center of the diagram, the technology is centered around the farming part, around the processing part. But if you do not have, as we discussed and was brought up in previous talks here in this webinar, if you do not have control over your feedstock and you don't have a good plan for securing that you get significant supply on a daily basis for year round, then you have a big problem. Also, if you have no clue of which markets to target with your end products, then you also have a big problem. This is what we help our clients to close the gap between the technology and the entry and the exit, so to speak. So we start by working, also bringing in external consultants. Could be DTI, for instance, on some screening of feed substrates to evaluate their applicability as being part of a larger project. Could be other consultancies, agencies to be involved. We also do some consultancy ourselves based on the know-how that we do have in insect farming, which is also part of our overall value proposition, that we know how the larvae or the flies how can I say, respond in a farming environment. We bring this know-how into insect farming. This is standing on the shoulders, you could say, of the 80 years that the Big Dutchman Group has worked with animal farming, with a lot of different technologies that is needed and used within that space. So eventually, hopefully, you stand with a commercial operation where you have some good management and standard operating procedures that we will fine-tune with you for your local project, that you can ensure good traceability throughout your supply chain, and also document your sustainability, because I think this is something which is being said a lot in the insect sector, but it's also important that we can put our mouth where our money is and show that we are actually quite a sustainable industry. Today, I will focus primarily on the rearing part, and there's already been a lot said regarding feed systems with liquid feeding systems from Veda. Not that how can I say, different from how we do feeding as well. Standing on a platform of experience and know-how from liquid feed systems for pigs. Also, I won't say much about automation and logistics, because Jasper from Viscon, whom we work with, will surely be able to say a lot more about this than me. And also the processing and Frans I will not handling today, because you should tune into the webinar next time on 5th of May, where there will be a lot on processing. So I will cover the first few points here on the right-hand side of this diagram. We are bringing together a lot of in-house technology from the Big Dutchman Group that is delivered via Better Insect Solutions as the insect hub, the insect company of the group, where we are leveraging, although it has taken a lot of optimization and adaptation, we are taking a lot of farming equipment and making it applicable for insects. And I will show an example in the end on where we are there. But it is our ambition to be able to provide you a end-to-end solution on the farming and processing, so that, as it was said in the previous slide, we are your one-stop hub for getting a project up and running, so that you can reduce the number of complexity regarding working with a lot of different, but having one partner that takes care of this, working together with a few key partners, like from logistics, for instance. Some of you that might be from the farming background will see that our building design is overall very much farming orientated, even though insect rearing, it's normally large scale that we are talking about in general, particularly when you compare it with a poultry production or pig production. Even 100 tons of larvae per year, it's the same as 1,000 pigs. So it easily becomes large farms that we're talking about, and they look quite, at least in our philosophy, they look quite like other animal farms. There's a lot of the philosophy from animal farming, how you manage the farm, how you make sure that the transition of the larvae from nursery into rearing and therefrom into processing, that it has a certain flow, and this flow needs to be implemented already in the building design. What, as all of you know, is very much different than for pig and poultry. Once you take off the hood of the farm, then you start getting the logistics that show up as quite an important part of being able to handle all the crates that are involved, and that's the way we do the housing. So we have there are different crates on the market. We have for various reasons decided to design our own crates. Firstly, for this to tap into the farm management, which I was just explaining, that the larvae need different type of crate when they are in a neonate life stage, whereas when they grow bigger, not least from the climate perspective, in order to be able to climatize, to ensure good climate system, good climate conditions for the larvae, there are different requirements for the crates. You can actually see it here on the picture that the headspace between the crates for the air that can move through. It's much bigger in the larger crate because here we need to move more air through because there is just so much heat production coming from the larvae. So in order to be able to do this in a uniform and robust way so that you get a good product coming out in the other end, and I completely agree with Garrett, it needs to be uniform feed as well, which is applied, because if you have too big differences in feed in your crates, even with the best climate system, you cannot create uniform conditions in there. So you need to keep these things constant. Homogeneous feed, homogeneous climate system, and good infrastructure or housing that will enable that the different parameters go up in higher unity. So basically what we do, we keep the neonates for as long as possible in these nursery crates. They are relatively small, 40 by 30 centimeters, 10 centimeters high. Once they cannot stay in that anymore because they simply take up all the space, we tip these crates directly into the grow-out crate to make sure that the larvae get a smooth transition from one segment, the nursery, into the next segment. And this also saves you easily 1 day of production, which 1 day out of 14, that's right on the bottom line, making more profit. And this is important for you to be able also to have more throughput in your farm, and hence get an even better return on investment. We also have housing for breeding, for flies, but today the rearing was the topic, so I didn't include this. In the next slide, you will see an overview of a standard grow-out house section based on our technology, our different subsystems, piecing this together to a full solution on the rearing. But the slide also shows that apart from applying a new type of pigsty or infrastructure for the animals, in this case the larvae with the crates, the houses look very much like if it was a poultry house or a pig house, although the climate system is much more advanced when it comes to this. I mean, you cannot just put crates into a poultry house and expect, like for broilers, and expect that you will get a good climatization at crate level. It's all about making sure that at every single crate, no matter where in the stack or which stack where they are growing, that you get uniform conditions. We are making use of using humidification and heating and fans from pig and poultry farming that we've been working with for years. We know that these components are durable, they are cost effective, but we have redesigned this and put a lot of effort into ensuring that the system can provide, the climate system can provide a uniform and robust climate, that you get this same output, or at least with reasonable variation from crate to crate. Also, we spend a lot of time on designing new controller software for the insect climate system, and also working on production management systems. So today we have something which is in operation and commercially viable. If we take the next slide, there's a lot of hot air that goes out of such a rearing facility, particularly during the rearing, where the larvae have massive heat production. We're talking about that every layer of crate is the equivalent of one broiler house per layer of crate. So basically we have 16 broiler houses under the same roof here. And there's a lot of heat that can be salvaged and can be reused in the farming operation, and which is of great value. This is showing from our sister company, ENORM, their solution for heat recovery, where this is from a pig house, but the technology here is very plug and play. Actually, doesn't really care if it's hot air from larvae or from pigs that come out. There's a great potential on recycling as well as cleaning the outgoing air through an air to water scrubber. And we can, in the most advanced version, where we also have heat pumps on top of the heat exchanger you see here, we can actually recycle 200% of the heat needed to run the farming part. so the climate system for the different larvae. So there's a lot of potential in becoming self-sustainable on the heating part. Then maybe with a biogas facility or some solar panels, you can also do that on the electricity. I think these are overall important things to consider. Of course, it has higher capex, but you will also benefit on the OPEX, I can tell you. I think this is also one of the narratives from insects, that there is a great potential for leveraging the energy coming from the larvae. I guess you can call it bioenergy or BSF energy. This is the final slide. So this is from the largest project we're working on at the moment, ENORM BIOFACTORY in Denmark. We started out in the lower right part of this picture in the 2 old broiler houses, which were converted into a pilot operation, where we validated and optimized all our major systems that we are implementing in this project, that being the liquid feeding system, the climate system, the crates, the breeding, heat recovery and air cleaning. And now we're in the middle of scaling this up together with ENORM, where this will be completed by the end of this year, and then starting to produce 100 tons of larvae per day. We have already parts of this up and running. The pupa sections, intermediate nursery, and the fly section are in operation. And then the back part there, the biggest block of the picture in the upper right, that is the grow out sections, which will be finished later this year. So as I said, from 100 tons per year to 100 tons per day. Rearing of larvae is possible at quite a range of scale. I think better leave it here and then pass it on to Jasper.